What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's talk about it. Creed 2. This is what we've been waiting to tell you guys and waiting to do this movie review for a while. It's like we were training ourselves. Very inspirational film. Very well done here at Screen Fame. We want to bring you guys nothing but the best. That's what we do. Bring you a great standard of excellence when it comes to reviewing these films. And this is very well directed, very well shot. The director that did this film also did a film called The Land about Cleveland, Ohio, and he was picked, to challenge to do the sequel to Creed and following Ryan Coogler's vision. Ryan was like, "Listen, he can't really deal with the Creed saga because he's involved in a billion-dollar budget film called Black Panther, and he's going to be the guy that's going to lead the helm of how many films they decide to go down the road with Black Panther. Black Panther was a monumental hit, made a lot of money for people, and that was that. Now, let's move forward. Because Black Panther did so well and made so much money for people, Ryan Coogler had to turn over everything to Rocky, and the Creed saga over to a new director, and he came in and did his part. Now let's just go over the movie. From the opening film, from the opening shot, you started to see the Russian national championship trophy of Drago. And I felt like that was a good way to introduce it for people who didn't know. You start seeing where he's at in the Ukraine and seeing it's just him and his son. And you don't really know the fate of, like, who was his mother, or you knew he was married to Bridget Nielsen. Did she die? You don't really know anything at this point. But you see it from the family photos. You see she got a picture of him when he was a baby. And, he just had such a hard upbringing. You see Victor, he's training, he's winning fights over in Russia, knocking guys out, as soon as they touch him, they sleep. And at the same time, Victor Drago, Ivan Drago, has been talking about pushing Victor and talking with an American promoter who wants to make the fight happen in the United States, and he wants Creed to get it. But Creed, had to become champion first. So the fights, and I don't want to tell what happens in the fights, and that happens in here. There's a lot of fights in here. So you're starting to see the story. This was more story than fight, and they were more like montages in one points, but this was very well done as far as building the atmosphere for something that's gonna clash down the road. You know it's coming, and you're like feeling it. This was like one film you're not gonna be able to look at your cell phone in. All the way through you're engaged because once it shifts from the hard life that Victor has to go through, and he's every day reminded of his father's failures, and his father has got to live with the shame all these years, and it seemed like ancient history to everybody else, but for him, he lives it every day. And they did a good job of, showing you that. You felt it, the pain that was going on with him. Now it shifts to Adonis. He's got a lot of things going on with him, as far as he's trying to prove himself over and over again. He's right back in a situation now where he needs to prove that he's not a fluke. He's the son of Apollo Creed, but he's not Apollo Creed. So, it's a lot of these narratives that he had to go fight through, overcome, and, you know, and get around. So, of course, he was challenged by Victor Drago. They came to Philly to challenge him. The promoter flew them out there. They challenged them, Rockies in Philly, and you know, Drago meets him in the restaurant. They talk, and Rocky's not really feeling this. Like you gotta have a what are you doing it for? We knew why Creed did it. You're doing it because you want to avenge your father and all this stuff. That had nothing to do with you. What are you fighting for? You see? So it became a bigger thing when you start to see the unveiling of Victor. You kind of feel for him too. He comes up in a hate filled family. His whole life was built around hate, 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 and hate. So when you see all of this around him and how much he's built around hate, you can see what can I say? You can see the buildup of the hate becomes a mask for what's really inside, which is pain. And you start to see that in the film reflects it. Now, the biggest standout in this film is the actual Michael B. Jordan as an actor. I mean, there are certain points in this film where they got him and his fiance or girlfriend he's with, he proposes to her in this movie and, they have a baby. Things are changing for him. He's a family man now. He's got to now balance this, her music career. She's still doing her music. And now, it's a situation where you don't know how it's going to turn out. Like, for real, you don't know. So I'm trying not to ruin the film for you. I'm not trying to ruin the film, but it's a very heartfelt moment. Tessa Thompson and him has great chemistry as far as acting and acting off one another and hitting those emotional marks when it really needs to be hit. And when it comes to the final match, you see the transformation in Michael B. Jordan character and how he becomes like when it's time he's mentally locked in to the fight to where he looks like a fighter for real. I'm like, okay, he looks the part for real. Like this is no joke. He's he's locked in. So I mean, Creed to me is 3.5 stars out of 4, and I love this movie. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. Uh, the only thing I have a detraction about is Rocky. They're trying to send Rocky off, and basically like they're moving on with the Creed saga, so they're gonna start to taper Rocky down a little bit. but I just don't like the way they used his character. Like Rocky don't talk to his son. You know, he's got a grandson. That doesn't fit with Rocky's character. Rocky was all about kids and family. Now this kid's grown, you know, I could see the kid wasn't reaching out as much to Rocky, but I can't see Rocky being the one that can't call him. You know, I just didn't see that for Rocky at all. I mean, I think they misread Rocky's character a lot. And I know Sylvester Stallone wrote this in. But you know, I feel like I don't know. I don't know if we'll see Rocky. Like I don't know if he's gonna be around for the next one or Creed 3 or Creed 4. And that's basically like how he was saying it in this is like, I'm done. He's turned into Mick, you know, and I guess that's what they were trying to do here, but I didn't like what they took it where he took his character because Rock is he's the heart of the movie. Like he's the staple in this. You know, I think they did a very good job in, you know, making it a Creed movie, not a Rocky movie. But I used to like that angle. That was the only angle in it I didn't really like is how they did his character there. I just didn't feel like that was the way to go with Rocky. And on that note, I'm out. Um, Definitely go see Creed 2. See it 3 times. See it 4 times. You will love it every single time you watch it. I watched it twice already. I'm gonna go back. I don't want to watch nothing else. That's my problem. I just want to watch Creed all day. Now, comparing it to the first one, is it better than the first? I don't know. Uh, I think the way it flowed a little better. This one had a lot to tangle with. This is, you know, Drago. The first one didn't have a real antagonist in it. It was no real villain, or it was him struggling to get his identity that he was running away from. And I think they did a great job in developing that story, you know, so he can get his own identity. But in Creed 2, he kind of goes right back to the same things all over again. It's like, okay, I want to be champion now. You know, I want to. That's what's really gonna get me there. And there was a scene in there that was really good in Creed 2. And the reason why I like this scene because it was true. He's like, there's only been 77 world champions. He said, "Do you ever know there's been 77 world champions at heavyweight? But how many do you think these people out here in the crowd remember or they know? Maybe 4, maybe 5. The belt ain't enough. So you got to have a meaningful fight. You got to have something that's going to stick to the ribs that they're going to remember you for forever. Now, if he beat Drago, they will remember that. So I loved it. And I'm riding with Creed 2. That's it. I'm saying it. Creed 2 was better than part 1. I'm riding with it. Let's go.